Oh, welcome friends. It's a few hours before the full moon is exact. And so, but we're in the portal of this moon. We are feeling the moon energies. I woke up this morning with just the nicest, like, sweet energy. This is a very sweet moon in some ways, and in South Asia, this moon is called Sharad Purnima. It's Krishna's full moon. And this is a night where like the gopis get intoxicated and the gopis and Krishna dance all night. Not like a fervor, like it's like a sweet moon. Think abalone shell and like oyster pearl, that like creamy milky white, kind of like classic moon flavors as well. It's also moon day, it's Monday, so we're getting all type of moon vibes. And I know the last 2 days for me, my mind was not in a very positive place. It was in a really more of a narrow, self-limiting, lot of like self-judgment, little imposter vibe. And as I was looking at the phases of things before this moon, guess who the moon had to visit on its way towards about 20 degrees, is like 19 degrees, 55 minutes, if I'm remembering things correctly, is the exact full moon. Well, it passed over Saturn at like 3 degrees Pisces, Neptune at 6 degrees and some change Pisces. Is all sidereal measurements. And so, yeah, the moon was not having a fun time the last 2 days, like passing over sidereal Rahu in Aquarius and then coming on into sidereal Pisces. So if you were also feeling a couple days lead up to this full moon, like, yeah, because moon is mind. And moon and those lunar mansions and this abalone pearl feel is the original astrology. This is the original system before there was zodiac and before there were houses. There was this ancestral moon wisdom and this connection of the self same reflection that is moon and mind and perception. So it's all storytelling. It's the meaning and the emphasis that we assign it. And it's a game of reflection and the reflection of us here on Earth looking up at the sky and seeing that, ooh, these constellations, these stars, our origins. They reflect in our human experience down here on Earth, and we're in interplay. And it's supposed to be fun. But if we paused and asked ourselves, all right, what's fun for you right now? We might feel silly or shameful or guilty that there's something fun in our lives right now. I'm just saying, it's possible. That like no, but I should be keeping myself in the struggle. I should be keeping myself in the angst. The things are not fun. The world is fractious, war, economics, all the things. We got to give this yes ands. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Because systems are transforming. This. I was talking with some friends today, more than one, about like, is this revolution? Is this collapse? Is this systems change? Like, what is this? It's transformation. There's breakage. And I'm really connecting this to the planets. The celestials that are lit right now, how they're lit, they're all illuminated. That's why they're celestials. But how are they lit? We've got outer planets, and we've been talking about this for several moon cycles now. I mean, complete cycles, new and full moon cycles. We've been talking about our friends, Saturn and Neptune, because they're hanging out together in Pisces. If you remember to the last new moon, the full moon before that one, and I think the new moon before that one too, Saturn and Neptune were conjoined or activated with those moon phases. We had a lot of things in Virgo. I'm just like pulling it out of my brain here. And we had Saturn Neptune conjunction. So it's like every time these two are shouting, and Saturn is like solid ground, work hard, center the masses and the downtrodden. And Neptune is like, oh, but what about fantasy? Oh, but what about fun? And so these two are throwing a party together right now, a very unlikely duo to throw a party because Saturn isn't life of the party and Neptune is like wants the freakiest, deakiest, out of this world. I'm thinking of for some reason the character that it was Fifth Element. Because for a hot second, I almost went Rush Hour. I was like, Jackie Chan was in it. I was like, no, 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 no. Not that. This very eccentric, like performer character that Chris Tucker played in Fifth Element, Mila Jovovich and Bruce Willis. It's a great movie. Yeah. Some odd star creature, kind of that's Neptune. And a deep spirituality and a deep creativity, but outer planet. So affecting the cosmic consciousness, really the it's not just human consciousness, but our collective consciousness. That's the word I want. So affecting our collective consciousness in deep and long-lasting ways. We have our friend Uranus Pluto. While Uranus and Pluto are not directly affecting this moon like they did at the new moon, we had all four outer planets conjoined at that new moon. Well, here we are at the full moon. So what are we bearing fruit about? But Saturn, Pluto are in Uranus, Pluto are in a direct conjunction, about 6-7 degrees, but that's pretty healthy. Like they're vibing the whole month of October. And so what we're getting from them is deep systems change, revolutionary level energy. So see, it's creeping. It's not here. It's forming. And those of you that can feel into that are feeling, and you're like, so revolution's here. And no, no, because the team that would be the rebels, rebelling against status quo, they're not even like in the same room. They're not in the same digital room. They're not organized. They're not together. They're not congealed. And so it's still a fantasy. Unfortunately, the reality that we're living through is the team that is so well organized around their agenda. And so, in talking with friends today, one clarity came through, and that is what is unmasking right now, what is revealing is capitalism is done cloaking itself in democracy. If there is something that is singing a swan song, oh, it's the current democratic construct that we're living in. Okay, quick history bubble, right? What are the origins of the current iteration of democracy? Well, you've got inspirations from some of the Judeo-Christian systems. You've got inspirations from Greco-Roman systems. You have inspirations from who the settler colonialists called the Iroquois Confederacy. They call themselves the Haudenosaunee Five Nations Confederacy. And they had an extremely comprehensive representative democracy that was very inspiring to those founding fathers of the American democracy. So that's your like distant and recent, like 1700s up to the 1700s inspirations. The style of democracy that permeates the globe is the American brand. You've got a couple resistors slash adopters called England, France, Germany, who like to think that they're doing their own thing, but no, they're all under the post-war, that's World War II, democratic system, and that's the American one that is coupled with free market economy. Now remember, post-World War II, there was a couple resistors to the free market economy. And that was the USSR and all of the countries that were forced to come under the Iron Curtain and participate in socialist, communist, really communist economics. Another outlier like Vietnam, Cuba, communist economics. So not participating in the emergent global free market economy or availing the support of the then emergent World Bank, International Monetary Fund, and the developmental projects that were put into play to strengthen the consortium of democratic adopters against communism. Fast forward 1989, 1990, 1991. Communism fell in the USSR and an adoption of free market economics. Communism did not fall in China into the 90s. China adopts free market economics. So you can already see this like democratic thing, these governance pushes are taking a back seat to the economics. What do we get alongside the 1980s? Neoliberal economics, also known as Reagan-Thatcherism. Deregulated free market economics that are going to now say, hey, corporation, you can do whatever you want in whatever country you want to do it in. You can pollute, you can steal, you can thieve, you can whatever, because you're no longer liable. And so this has now fast forwarded with the growth of the information age and the globalization era to where we find ourselves now. The governments are like, I mean, do we need to keep up this? Democracy farce. Like we have been since, which is an authoritarian autocrat. It was too much for Zoom. Zoom couldn't handle all this truth telling, all this history thought bubble. Couldn't handle it. I have really bad internet. It's gonna cut out, but it'll come back. Okay. So what we were describing was like they just want to come out of the costume and in and just be the evil authoritarian autocratic oligarchy characters that they want to be, and they feel emboldened and empowered to do that. That's what we're living through. That's what we're witnessing. A coming undone of a costume. And who's behind the costume is frightening. And the thing is that they don't even know what their end game is. They have no idea what follows this. Let's say that they're just wildly successful in what they're doing and they're able to dismantle American democracy as it is, and they're able to make all the money. Oh, they will still come to a crisis. And that crisis will be about purpose for being. There's no amount of power and privilege that will solve the conundrum that you are born into this world with. And that is, what is your actual purpose for being? And so, friends, hold tight and stick to the fucking plan. Ready yourself. Rest yourself. Heal yourself. Make sure that you're invested in longevity and vitality. Because even this evil game will have a cyclic rotation and will come back to the heart of the matter. Now, there's a lot of unfortunately's along the way. How much are these people going to destroy? The environment, our resources, how much war, strife, murder, genocide are we going to have to live through? Like, nah, it's not just hunky dory. Like, oh, we'll just bide our time. We'll be in our little dens. We'll be in our little shelters and our bubbles and everything will be fine. Unfortunately, there's also the climate impact that's already been made. So on a real practical end, oh, we need like physical fitness. And you need like a storage of a few days of food and water. And you should probably have some sort. And yeah, how do machines work? And some practical things as well. That's not doomsday. That's inevitability because be seen. Right. Because our climate impacts are there to be seen. We're transitioning into a new season of autumn. Some places should be cooling and they're very warm. Some places should be drying and they're very wet. Some places, like thinking of my hometown, Chicago, it's like moderate for longer. And mosquitoes don't die. And like there'll be impacts. So how can we be helped at that this sweet, nurturing moon. How can we be supported at this sweet, nurturing moon? We're really like cutting out right now. Okay. And so I'm thinking about, and also in consideration with the astrology, we are coming into the dark time of year. There's less sunlight, it's darkening. In again, the South Asian calendar, Kali Puja, Deepawali, Diwali, the darkest night of the year considered. No, the darkest night of the year is winter solstice, but it's astrologically the darkest night of the year. That's October 20th this year. So it's we're headed in to the deep yin earlier this year, not like a November time, but an October time. And we see that with the movement of the celestial. So for example, sun, October 17th, sun moves into sidereal Libra, which is its point of debilitation. There are some things teasing at the moment, peace talks and such. Let's hope that that can be part of the enrichment of this new moon, because by mid-month, Leo is the place of leadership. And so we're going to have that month from mid-October to mid-November where leadership is not resourced. We're going to see some stupidity at play. And so when Sun, leader, ruler, king, debilitation, it that's tough, right? Also, Venus, October 9th, so soon, couple of days, moves into debilitation in Virgo. So if we think about Venusian themes of, artistry and aesthetics of life, beauty, love, romance, um, also food systems can even have impact with the economy. That's going into a point of debilitation. Interestingly, Mercury moves into a position of strength, and they're going to have an exchange between houses. And so we'll have like exchange, a Parivartana yoga, and Mercury is in a strong place in Virgo in its own sign. So it will uplift and cancel the debilitation of Venus. So we'll get like a week where the mood is down, and then like 2 weeks where we're kind of better. And then at the end of the month, again, the mood will go down with Venus debilitated. So, ooh, kind of two planets already debilitated. That's something there. Um, and then we've got Jupiter supercharged. It's moving very quickly through uh sidereal Gemini, and on October 18th, it's going to move in Cancer. Jupiter will move into its sign of exaltation in Cancer. So I don't know if it's going to feel so much like a roller coaster, not like a roller coaster, but some things will feel resourced. Jupiterian things like expansion and philosophy and spirituality and things, that's going to be super energized, really fulfilling. And of course, you have to look back at your own chart. You have to see, for example, what house is Cancer for you? What's getting the boost? What house is Libra, where Sun isn't going to be so happy? What house is Virgo, where Venus is going to be like, sad, and then happy, and then sad, like this. So you look in your chart and you see the kind of themes that are going to come up or areas of your life, and you can get that little bit of heads up. Jupiter is supercharged right now, and that supercharge started when Jupiter came out of retrogression in at the time, yeah, in Gemini, because Jupiter's doing this 1 year transit in Gemini. So it was retrograde, and it's been charging since then. And I was just listening in an astrology class today that Jupiter is going to be in this supercharged kind of racing through the zodiacs for 8 years, which I thought was very interesting as per conversations about emergent spiritualities. Rahu and Aquarius, like Neptunian vibes. We're back in fantasy land. I was like, oh, how interesting. Guru, Jupiter, honestly saves the day most of the time. Like when you go back over the astrology of COVID, Jupiter saved half the planet. Yeah, yeah, because that was all going down in Rohini. Like it was a extinction level event, and, and Jupiter saved like half the planet from getting eliminated. And even then, we had so many losses, right? But Jupiter mitigated that. That is the blessing of a benefic planet. And so I wonder what that 8 years of supercharged Jupiter, well, we're going to be transforming. I don't know. I'm here for the spiritual journey. Like, I'm here for the spiritual stuff. I'm kind of useless in the material end of things, though I sure do enjoy luxury, not gonna lie. So, like, yes, let's go. That's what I'm feeling. So, coming back, one more swing here to this new moon, sorry, this full moon. And here we are. We're back in Pisces, ruled by Jupiter. We're in the nakshatra. The full moon is exact in the nakshatra of Revati. So, as much as this wackadoodle internet will let me, I want to read to you a bit from Bepin Bihari's Myths and Symbols of Vedic Astrology about Revati nakshatra and the beauty and the blessings of this place. Revati as a constellation consists of 32 stars. Wow. Symbol of a fish is assigned to it. The Vedic deity is Pushan or Bhushan, which is a name given to the sun for measuring the sky. Revati stands for the great womb in which the sun dwells in dormancy until the impulse for the next creative cycle arises. So this is the very last nakshatra. We are at the end of the cycle. We're all the way at the feet of Kalapurusha. And so there's some endings right now. We're about to start some kind of big new cosmic cycle. Here in Revati, matter merges in pure essence into the spirit, where the divine's messenger to the human world, Mercury dominates. It is the great deluge, where the seed for future creation incubates until the next cosmic dawn. The planets associated with different aspects of creation still have an important role to play during this cosmic quietude. The creation becomes possible when the moon pours soma, the life-sustaining energy. There are many behind-the-scenes activities for souls at their journey's end, and many activities to prepare them for the next act of the drama of creation. So remember, Pisces is the natural 12th house of death, of liberation, of loss, and also of bed pleasures. Make some sense about that. Sex and death, y'all. Revati as the wife of Balarama, elder brother of Lord Krishna. As the feminine counterpart of Lord Krishna's precursor, Revati, even as the last lunar mansion, has the important task of providing necessary assistance to the forces which operate to herald a new beginning, miraculously transferred from the womb of Devaki, where he was conceived, to the womb of Rohini. This was done in order to save him from the wrath of the demon king Kamsa. Born from the womb of Rohini, the fourth asterism, he became the helper of Lord Krishna. Revati, being the counterpart of this mighty power who was transferred from one womb to another, can be recognized as the mysterious, preservative, and protective principle in nature. It enables the fructification of nature's secret energies. Revati acts in the realm where one cycle of evolution enters into completion and rests until the next beginning of the next. In everyday life, this asterism portends the involvement of an individual in earthly things and relationships with possibilities for further evolution and materialization. Under this asterism, the individual is prepared for a new realization of truth and fresh impetus for meaningful life. So just remember that Saturn and Neptune are playing in with this moon right now. And so we've got also these dimensions of the collective, the masses, the spiritual and artistic fantasy, this like earth plane and cosmic plane. Okay, back in. The symbol of the fish is indicative of an auspicious creative influence. The fish gives fertility and allows for rapid growth. It helps the one to become many easily and rapidly. It helps the one to become many. Oh no, just kidding. While doing so, it makes an individual turn outward and consider the feelings of others. Okay. Having children was considered by ancient people as the fulfillment of one's social obligation. Not no more. When social obligations are fulfilled, social prestige and contentment afford peace and satisfaction to the person. Under Revati, creative faculties enable the expression of outgoing tendencies. A new life begins for an individual under this asterism. Vishnu's avatar form as a fish, Matsyavatara, heralded the advent of a new cycle of evolutionary growth. Similarly, under Revati, an individual begins a more useful existence. Under this asterism, there is always a change and an impulse to begin anew, to immerse oneself in the realm of materiality with the intent of beginning at a higher level of existence. Mythological references relate Revati to the sun, the source of energy for the sustenance of life. Revati is also linked with Saturn, who was born of the sun and Chaya, the shadow of the sun's wife. Saturn was born on a Saturday at dusk. He is the god of boundless time. Saturn was born when the real wife of the sun was away, having put in her place an illusory woman called Chaya, meaning shadow, to take care of her husband. From this illusion, under the impact of the sun's union with it, Saturn was conceived. It's a very interesting parable, that one. Under Revati, active time, represented by the sun, revolving in its cycles as indicated in the allegory of its union with the shadow, becomes passive time experienced as endurance, duration, and eternity. The fish symbol emphasizes the merging of Jivatman, the individual soul, in universal soul, Para-Atman. Para-Atman. No, Para-Atman. Yeah, I said it right the first time. At this stage, the flame becomes the fire, the drop joins the sea, and the fish goes back to its home. Mercury, the ruler of the asterism, and Jupiter and Saturn ruling its quadrants provide the necessary impetus for spiritualizing materialistic experiences and linking them with the world of the celestials. Arising out of the desire for spiritual unity caused by Jupiter ruling the first quarter comes the penance and suffering caused by Saturn ruling the second and third quarters. Under which material cravings are completely annihilated. By this, the individual is reborn in wisdom, signified by Jupiter ruling the last quarter of the asterism. Under the impact of Mercury, the individual attains pure awareness, born out of discrimination and dissatisfaction with external forms of religious observances. The exaltation of Venus in the last quarter of Revati produces a sense of contentment and tranquility, especially if it is placed there with the moon exalted in Rohini, represents the foster mother of Balarama. Venus, related to sexual relations, encourages and augments procreative activities. So like when we say Venus is going to be debilitated, then yeah, creativity, procreation, if you're trying to get pregnant, all those kind of things, they might be a little, or figuratively trying to birth something, your creativity might be a little truncated during that debilitation. All right, there's a little bit more. Considered as female, the passivity and receptivity of Revati makes an individual very sensitive to external conditions. The creative faculties, both at the physical and psychological levels, are considerably energized. Categorized as an outcast upon whom the social organization depend for support. Revati's influence enables its beneficiaries to do great service for their fellow beings without expecting much in return. A sense of psychological disappointment and feelings of inferiority result under its impact. My point. As a species, Revati is an elephant. It arouses a sense of grandeur, awe, while at the personal level, there's little awareness of honor and credit accorded thereby, just as the elephant is unaware of the honor bestowed on it. The psychological transformation which gives rise to such mental attitudes is highlighted by the asterism possessing a godly temperament. Whether we consider the impact of Revati on the individual, I was waiting for the internet. Patience. Okay, whether we consider the impact of Revati on the individual or in relation to cosmic evolution, the impulses flowing through it lead to the expansion of awareness. Revati moves us to the cosmic expanse, boundless duration, and preserves the seed of future growth and splendor in the infinite sea of quietude and beatitude. Revati refers to the involvement of the soul in self-preservative activities, which extend from kalpa to kalpa, from one eternity to another. So, friends, we've been here before in cyclic endings, in the juicy space in between. Just think how much like gooey, juicy things go into the making of a pearl. A little irritation of sand, you know? And so, how are you going to spend this moon? You could be in the agitation and fret of all the things, or you could be in the misty, mystical, sparkly magic of it all and see where that takes you. The yin season is upon us. And so adjust your food and sleep and hydration and your colors and your fabrics accordingly and play the long game because some real fantastical things could be on the other side of this churning. So that's the download. Thanks for putting up with this internet. But I'm learning how to work with it. We're figuring it out together. It's just little pauses to soak things in. Might not be such a bad thing. So I'm going to pause the recording. And if there's a little time left to connect on personal notes, that's fun too.